Alright, so my name is Mike Clay. I am a software engineer at Métier, based in Healdsburg, California. I've been with Métier for about 3.5 years now. Being that I'm a senior engineer, it's kind of a little bit beyond just standard software engineering, which would be just, writing code or developing features for clients and things like that. So additionally, I help manage and train junior engineers, also work with portfolio analysts who interact with our customers more directly in order to kind of help make sure that we are developing solutions that help meet those customer needs. I work with our cloud infrastructure, so I help manage our software as a service offering, so maintaining the servers, performing client installations, and also the various troubleshooting aspects that are involved with things like that. So around middle school, I started learning how to program. I picked up a big book on C++ and probably understood 10% of what I read, but it was enough to keep me interested. Going into high school, I started kind of doing a little bit of web programming, a little bit of PHP from time to time. Kind of got into open source software a little bit, was playing with Linux. From that point on, I kind of just figured, I really kind of want to really know this stuff. So I decided that's what I wanted to study in college. So I went into college with aspirations of being a computer scientist, and it turned out it was for me. And worked for the Oregon State University Open Source Lab as I was getting my degree, where I was working with other student developers on various projects for the network engineering team and other open source projects that we were hosting. Definitely are multiple ways in. If you're going the college route, which I highly recommend because it teaches you so much about how everything works under the hood that sometimes when you try to self-teach, you just don't quite get all that information. Study computer science. I would also recommend, if you have the option, to take on extra math as much as you can, depending upon what you really want to do with it. For example, if you're going to software engineering and you know that you want to work with a big area right now is biology and computer science. Take some extra biology classes and also look at things like statistical analysis, because those kinds of things can become useful. Algorithms and techniques they use have been tried and true for over 50 years. And as a result, they're kind of the industry best practice and the industry standard for how those things need to work. So definitely focus on all those low-level fundamentals, even though it may seem kind of superfluous. Another way into it is just be wicked good at designing things and build your own stuff. My mantra is always find an itch to scratch and scratch it. So if there's something like you need a program to do, build it. Why not? And let other people use it. Develop for the next person, not necessarily always for you. It starts out for you, but remember, someone else might need this. And keep that in mind. And as you go forward with that, your name gets out there, people can see what you've done, they can see what you've written, and that's also a leg in. Some of the most successful candidates I interview are people who have a GitHub account. I can go see code they've written. I can look at the programs. I can see how they write code, how they thought about a problem. And that's always a good thing. And I would say, you can self-teach things. I think it's important to remember that, especially in a thing that moves as fast as computer science and information technology and software engineering, all this stuff moves at light speed. So it's important to be able to self-teach yourself and stay up to date on your own. You may not always be able to find all that in-depth information stuff like on artificial intelligence that you may get from a college course taught by someone who wrote some of the algorithms that everyone else uses, but you can get a pretty decent understanding of things from a practical perspective. I mean, you can become a pragmatic software engineer without it, and sometimes that's enough, depending on what you want to do. But I would recommend the college path, and I would say, though, is that you also need to have a passion for it and learn on your own and apply that knowledge at every opportunity if you really want to be successful in the field. Software engineers are numerous, and so you need to set yourself apart somehow. And the ways you do that is get your name out there, write stuff that people recognize, and show the world what you're capable of, and eventually it'll help. I never quite understood the people who really feel like they want to be a software engineer or really want to write code or write apps or make a web application or something like that, but then seem to shy away at opportunities to flex those development muscles. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I would say if you're really serious about getting into it, start writing code. Like really get into it. And the first things you write are going to be probably sloppy. They're not going to look great. They're going to be bad, but you have to stretch that, flex that muscle in order to, make it get better. It's kind of like learning a actual spoken language. When you start learning how to speak a second language, no matter what it is, the only way you gain fluency is by actually speaking it. The only way you're going to become that, code ninja that can sling C# and C around like they're nothing is to sit down and write some C# and write some C. You're going to make mistakes. If you put your code out there for other people to see, some people are going to point them out to you. Some of them not so politely, but take those things on board and really learn from those mistakes. I mean, you can read other people's code all you want, but you're going to have to write it eventually, and you're going to have to start solving those problems. So just get out there and start writing some stuff. Don't be afraid of getting some criticism from people about how you do things, because that's how you get better. Yeah, just start writing code.